customers, isn't it?
No, these aren't customers.
Dude, we don't shop at hipster hobbles.
So the first member of this little unboxaholic goon squad that he sent our way is Q Anu. This guy is stuck in the 90s with his Jinko jeans and his little Lion King t-shirt. This guy's sole purpose in the goon squad is just to make sure sports fan Brian doesn't flip his lid and jump off a 5-story building just to prove a point.
We don't shop at hipster hobbles.
It's the fake!
Total weak sauce!
The second member of this goon squad of doom is sports fan Brian. This guy has so much sports head knowledge that I think he doesn't have any brain cells left to remember to take a shower. He walks around with pads on his knees and elbows just in case someone wants to challenge him at a game of football. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. This guy sucks at sports, but he makes up for it in his lame attitude and his ability to remember who won the Super Bowl in 1956.
So these are your nemesises?
I think it's nemesis, cause plural.
Nemesis? That's not even a word. What? I also police grammar.
Don't worry about them. They're just this weird club or therapy group or something.
Dude, we're a gang.
A dangerous gang.
Too many film classes!
And the last member is Hello Kitty Kira. This girl's sole purpose is to give the other two losers a ride around because they don't have cars. When she's not hanging out with all the other losers, she's at home doing Zoom classes. I'm surprised she hasn't gone completely insane. She carries around this little wicker basket with some sort of something living inside. I don't know if it's a squirrel or a possum or some fairy tale creature, but this thing, whatever it is, wants to get the hell away from her.
Dude!
No! It's the no! Come back to mommy! No!
That's good and well, but we don't have time for this. See, me and Ian were just about to go unbox the
Streets Rage 4!
Did you? Who told you guys?
The most righteous unboxaholic sends his regards.
We've come for the collector's edition.
Want to handle this versus style?
I was just about to highly suggest that.
Let's get extreme!
Whoa, dude. What about a challenge?
Yeah!
No, dude. Like a trivia challenge, a challenge of the mind.
Did somebody say trivia?
Oh no.
Oh yeah!
Trivia challenge? It's gonna be gnarly.
What about it, fanboys? Wanna go mono a mental?
You're actually saying it wrong. It's mano a mano, a Spanish phrase used for by Madame.
Not the time.
Okay.
Not the time.
Fair enough.
Let's get started. 5 questions to find out who's the biggest rager. What was the final point spread for Super Bowl 18 between the Bears and the Patriots?
Ooh!
What graphics technique is used to create the illusion of death in 2D games?
Ooh!
What are some key differences between the 1984 and 2012 versions of Red Dawn? Describe major changes between seasons 1 and 2 in The Facts of Life. Okay, final question. Which fighting game of the late 90s was acclaimed for its iconic EDM soundtrack?
Glad that's over. What a drag.
Yeah, funny you should say drag. It's actually an army term from the Civil War, meaning a tedious experience. Personally, I have my own favorite phrase from the Civil War.
Bomb them into the Stone Age!
No, not that.
Oh,
All right, so we finally got rid of those bozos, and now we're ready to go ahead and begin opening our Streets of Rage 4 Collector's Edition. Ian, how do you feel?
Streets of Rage 4, a game franchise that is seemingly absent from just about everything for the last 25 years, with the last title, Streets of Rage 3, coming out on the Genesis in the mid-1990s. And finally seeing it again is quite refreshing, and a nice reminder of eras bygone in gaming.
Okay, so the first thing that we should probably talk about is the exterior of the box. Box really looks nice. It's in good shape. It has a outer sleeve, as most of these boxes do, and it's covered in pretty cool graphics. In the front, you got kind of that Genesis-y vibe. Streets of Rage 4, just real nostalgic, real awesome. And then on the sides, there is Axel. The backside, not all that impressive. It just says Streets of Rage 4 and gives some details on the Nintendo Switch version of the game.
As someone who grew up as a Sega kid, I still find it rather odd to see Sega IPs showing up on Nintendo consoles. Something about that just doesn't feel right. But I guess we gotta move on in this day and age.
Next, we have one of my favorite parts of this entire unboxing, the original Genesis cart inside of an original Genesis box. This is so nostalgic. To be cracking the seal on this in 2021 is an absolute surreal experience. So starting with the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. Looks super nice. I love that they were able to get that Genesis logo on the front of it and shape it and design it around the Sega Genesis, which is something that I think you could only get done with Sega as a company versus Nintendo. They just absolutely hate it when you use their branding on anything. So the backside is more like it, with details on the game, new features, and a couple of really cool screenshots. Inside is a beautiful cast iron engraved Streets of Rage 4 cartridge. Unfortunately, these cartridges aren't functional. You can't put any kind of PCB in them, which isn't really a big deal with the Streets of Rage 4 one, but I do wish that they would start to do that with games that are re-releases. But you know what? With this one, it gets a pass. No big deal. I just love to be able to put that on my shelf. I can have one in my Switch collection and one in my Sega Genesis collection.
The Streets of Rage franchise seemingly graced the 16-bit era with some of the best and most innovative soundtracks ever provided on a physical game release from the 1990s. Most home console games kind of paled in comparison to the audio you got and the musical tones you got, especially when they were pushing it through the limited Yamaha processor of the Genesis. But to see the soundtrack back out and available on CD in a dual case that even the CD case kind of reminds me of eras bygone, that's pretty impressive. What is really fun is other Streets of Rage soundtracks are actually available on vinyl, which makes for a pretty fun analog listen in comparison to the music's digital origins.
And next we have the Streets of Rage 4 poster that comes with the collector's edition. Not much to talk about here. It's the artwork for Streets of Rage 4 on a poster. Pretty awesome stuff.
Something I'm very glad to see here is that this collector's edition comes with not only art assets that are seen in the game, but also animation cells based on the character's movements, which quite frankly you don't really see in traditional releases. About 20 years ago, you used to see these things pretty commonly in game boxes along with PC purchases or even clamshell purchases. But now it's kind of few and far between unless you get collector's editions, but this is pretty attractive to see.
And finally, the moment we have all been waiting for, kind of the cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake, and that is the Streets of Rage 4 Axel and Blaze statue. This thing looks super cool. It's pretty well detailed. It's not perfect. There are some imperfections in Blaze's stomach, as well as a close-up view of Axel Axel looks like he's actually crying, but they are very, very close to the in-game characters. Keep in mind, guys, that Axel and Blaze are supposed to be about 20-30 years older in this one than they were in the first game, so obviously there's a little bit of age in Axel's face, but we have a little bit of that aging going on, and you know, overall I think this is a beautiful looking statue. Definitely belongs on any collector of Streets of Rage's shelf, and I'm super happy that we were able to unbox it today. I did want to note that the turkey that came with the statue was actually broken when I pulled it apart. Kind of a bummer, not that big of a deal, but still not something you want to see when you're unboxing something for the first time. So overall, my opinions after the Streets of Rage 4 Collector's Edition unboxing from Limited Run Games is this is a wonderful little Collector's Edition. It comes with all the stuff that you would expect to get when you have a Collector's Edition, all in pretty decent quality as well, and with a few surprises thrown in. And I will say that I was actually extremely surprised when we popped open that Genesis case and saw that cast iron cart and the steel book that came inside of that Genesis case, which, by the way, I love the added touch that that Genesis style case actually held the Switch original game and the steel book inside of it. I think that is really cool. And finally, with the statue, I think that the statue looks absolutely beautiful. But overall, I'm very happy with what we saw today with the Streets of Rage 4 Collector's Edition. Now, let's find out what Ian thinks.
I'll say I'm very happy to see IPs like Streets of Rage come back into the forefront of popular culture, and to see new games being made. Because the last time a Streets of Rage game was attempted to be made, it turned into Fighting Force 64, and really didn't go anywhere. I mean, that franchise petered out pretty quickly in the late 90s. But to see Streets of Rage come back with, you know, it's relatively iconic, you know, 80s flair, with that dystopian feel come back and be available, it's pretty great to see that again. But also the fact that it seems like Sega or Limited Run Games put a lot of effort into this collector's edition, with kind of really good effort put into the miniature and other pieces of it, which I'm glad to see, and I hope this continues into the future.
Well, thank you so much, Ian from Historic Nerd, joining us today for the Streets of Rage 4 unboxing. Ian, how can our viewers find you?
Yeah, if you want to find me, just look up the Historic Nerd channel on YouTube, YouTube/HistoricNerd, or you can go to my website, www.historicnerd.com. You can find me there. Or you can talk to me on Twitter, @HistoricalNerd, at twitter.com.
And I've got to say that the Historic Nerd YouTube channel is one of the most highest quality YouTube channels out there. He takes his time, he puts together a very well-informed and just an awesome overall visual experience, as well as informational experience on retro video games, movies, just old school nerd stuff. So if you haven't checked out Historic Nerd yet, guys, go over and check it out. You will not be disappointed. Well, that's going to do it for us this time, guys. If you got value out of this video, do us a big favor and smash that like button, as well as subscribe with bell notifications turned on so you can catch us every time we post a new video. And lastly, guys, I want to know from you, what was your experience with Streets of Rage 4? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you somewhere in the middle? Let us know in the comment section down below. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a wonderful game and a wonderful collector's edition to top it all off. But let me know your opinions down in the comment section down below. But until next time, Luke from 8-Bit Plus signing out, and we'll see you in the next one. God bless.